What's up, guys? Going live after a UFC Vegas 80, which started out very slow, for being honest. Decision, boring fight, absolute robbery. And then the main event definitely heats up, and Bobby Green just shocked the world. Bobby Green just shocked the world. I messed up. I thought I was going to say that I called it early in the week. I made a bunch of videos. You see the thumbnail right now. Should you bet Bobby Green plus 350? I did a half hour basically on why you should back Bobby Green plus 350. Did I think he was going to knock out Grant Dawson in 33 seconds? Absolutely not. That was insane. That was insane. And we'll see if people join the live chat here, but I feel like UFC Vegas 80 didn't really have the hype. Not a ton of people were really talking about it. We got Bellator 100 on right now. People are probably watching college football, but Bobby Green just shocked the damn world. And if you are Grant Dawson, how do you feel right now? That has got to be absolutely brutal to be Grant Dawson right now. Gets his big shot, gets the first main event of his entire UFC career, working at American Top Team. Looks phenomenal in his last few fights, riding a nice win streak, coming off a win over Damir Ismagulov, who was ranked at one point. Smokes him like 30-27, 30-26. Goes up against Bobby Green, which was supposed to be a winnable fight. And Bobby Green sleeps him in 33 seconds. Are you kidding me? This is MMA. This is why we love the sport. This is why we watch. This is why when we're picking fights, when we're betting on fights, it is impossible to predict some of these things. I mean, Joe Pyfer goes out there, gets a submission plus 500. Bobby Green gets a round one knockout. If you bet Bobby Green round one, you're a psycho. You were crazy. Nobody did that. Show me the betting slips. Show me the betting slips. If you backed Bobby Green round one knockout, show me the betting slips, because no one saw that coming. I mean, you even had Morano versus Buckley. Over 2.5 was like plus 250. That happens. Buckley pretty much dog walks him the entire time. Drew Dober round one. That was about the only fight that made sense. Bill Algeo got the job done. 30-27, unanimous. That was one of our best spots. But geez, Bobby Green round one, guys. Come on. 33 seconds. I mean, people are saying lay and pray Grant Dawson outpoints him 50-45, goes to decision, boring fight. How many people actually counted out Bobby Green? And how many people actually cashed out on a Bobby Green ticket? Because nobody was on this guy. Betting splits, 90% public, 90% money, Twitter, everybody's on Grant Dawson. And Bobby Green gets the job done. Bobby Green gets the job done. Absolutely insane. And I wish I could say that I called it, because like I said, early in the week, you see the thumbnail. Should you bet Bobby Green plus 350? I said it was at least worth a sprinkle. Plus 350, it was worth something. I mean, implied probability, Grant Dawson wins 8 out of 10 times. Yeah, 8 out of 10 times is basically what they had it at. I mean, Dawson even got up to 500, minus 500 for Grant Dawson. So implied probability was above 80%. That was the 10%. That was the 15% was right there. Bobby Green landing. Dude, didn't even look like that big of a shot, if we're being honest. Didn't even look like that big of a shot. And he just connected with the chin. Grant Dawson goes down. Bobby Green jumps on him. Ref gave him a little bit of a chance, but Dawson just covered up, and it was game over. It was absolutely game over. So, I mean, that was insane. And like I said, like you're watching this card, if you're like me, starting at 4:00, watching the prelims, Montana De La Rosa completely drops the ball. Terrible fight. It was pretty big because he caught him so well. Yeah, that like I guess it's kind of weird. Sometimes you see someone land like an absolute kill shot, and you know when it lands, it's gonna knock him out. But that, to me, didn't look like a very powerful shot. But like you're saying, where it landed, I mean, everybody has it. There is a button, and when you press it, they go down. And that's exactly what happened. Bobby Green just happened to land the perfect shot. Grant Dawson just collapsed on himself. And that was just brutal, man. That was brutal. Yeah, we had unanimous decision to start out the night. Decision, decision, decision. Then Nate Maness starts to turn it up. One of the bigger underdogs to win. I'll just say it right now, too. Murata was one of the worst robberies I have ever seen. And the fact that it was a unanimous across the board 29-28 makes zero sense. Murata clearly won rounds 2 and 3. I will never understand how the judges went that way. But Maness really started it off with a nice round 1 knockout. I had him, which was my first win of the night, which is ridiculous. Yeah, shout out to my guy Ted in the chats here. I agree the power wasn't there, but the placement and timing was so good. Unlucky, but honestly, if they reran it, that can still go Dawson. Exactly, but that's literally the name of the game, especially when you're talking about MMA, a combat sport. The implied win probability for Grant Dawson was 85% when it closed because he was like minus 500. That's insane. We just saw the 15%. We just saw the 1 or 2 times where Bobby Green can win the fight. That's even like an insane thing to say too, because Bobby Green never wins that way. That's not a Bobby Green win. So Bobby Green by decision would have made more sense. Bobby Green round 4, round 5, that would have made more sense. But a 33-second knockout for Bobby Green makes close to no sense. It's ridiculous. I still can't believe it. My mind is blown. And yeah, the main card was great, man. The main card was a lot of fun. The Algio Hernandez fight was good. Dober just went in there and absolutely steamrolled Glenn. Buckley has found a home at 170. He's an absolute problem. One judge gave him 30-26. Yeah, you could probably argue maybe it was a 30-26, but smoked Morano, who was probably the biggest underdog. Everybody on Twitter was backing Alex Morano. The line started to slowly shift towards Morano, but it was Buckley, man. It was always Buckley. Speed, power, wrestling, athleticism, explosiveness, everything was on the Buckley side in hindsight. Luckily, I was on the right side of that. I did have Buckley winning, but I also had the under 2.5, thinking Morano might pull out a sub or Buckley would get the knockout. And I still don't really know how Morano survived, if we're being honest. And then Pfeiffer, dude, how good did Pfeiffer look? Round 1, absolutely explosive. And then round 2, it wasn't even close, dude. His takedowns are so aggressive. The dude is massive for the weight class, super strong. The wrestling is there, pulls out the submission win, and obviously the boxing and the striking is there too. So shout out to my guy Delgado. You stopped watching because your parlay ended early. That can happen, especially when you're talking about an Apex, no live crowd. There wasn't a lot of hype on this card. I totally understand if you weren't going to watch that. Early card as well, 4 p.m. start time, 7 p.m. main card. So if you weren't going to watch it all the way through, I don't blame you necessarily, but we got to see some sick fights in the main card. That was great. Keep up the good work, bro. Always see you grinding. I appreciate that. YouTube's has been more of a grind. I've been up, I've been down, I've been posting, I've been on a hiatus for a few months, but I'm really trying to commit to YouTube. It's a lot more fun. I'm usually a TikTok guy, but I can only talk so much on TikTok. Like I do like 2 to 3 minutes and I do a full card breakdown. On YouTube, it's unlimited. I can talk for an hour. I can talk for 2 hours. I can interact with the live chat. Like it is so much better to establish yourself on YouTube. So I appreciate that. Hopefully that's going to continue down the road. That's the absolute goal. So yeah, man, this is probably the first live that I've done like spontaneously. I just felt like the night was young. It was an insane main event. Like I had to jump on and at least talk about it because this is crazy, man. I still can't believe it. Bobby Green, man. The UFC narrative was Dawson wins. He continues to climb the ranks. Eventually, probably gets like a top. Well, yeah, he would still need like a top 10 opponent. But Dawson was kind of like a dark horse. Now, what do you say? Can't say he's a dark horse, man. Now, I mean, is Bobby Green the dark horse? Probably not. But I mean, that's still just insane that he was able to get the job done. So, um, overall, UFC Vegas 80 started out slow, but I would say it was a pretty decent card. I would say it was a pretty decent card. We had an okay night of betting. I mean, it's so hard to do this, man, because Piper goes out and gets the sub. Bobby Green goes out, gets the knockout. Morano, Buckley goes to decision. I didn't see that happening. Really, the only plays that I had that definitely happened was Dober, round one. Everybody was on that. Dober by knockout, I definitely had. I had Algio straight, which was really nice. Carolina, I had picked straight up. And Maness, I had picked straight up. So decent night overall, but Murata really killed me. That robbery absolutely killed me. Um, yeah, we got some decent wins on the night. We got some decent wins on the night. My problem is that I'll put in some plays early on in the week, getting some decent lines, and then I'm a sucker, man. I am a degenerate sucker as I'm watching fights. Anytime that like I win a bet and I immediately get paid on DraftKings, I live bet the next fight, and that's where I lose my money. I always just end up like breaking even, just having a good time. But we definitely had some decent spots out there. But MMA is just so damn unpredictable that it's hard to consistently make money. And parlays, dude. Yeah, exactly. I'm nothing special. I am one of you. I am the same exact thing, dude. I watch the fights, I get excited, I win a little parlay, I get 25 bucks in there, and then all of a sudden I'm throwing round 3, round 4 props specifically by submission, trying to hit plus 2,000, and then fucking Bobby Green goes out there and gets a 33-second knockout, which killed me, man, because I was preaching. I was like, oh, throw money round 3, round 4, round 5 in the main event. That's the way that it's going to play out. Dawson finds the submission. Maybe Green takes over if Dawson's cardio gives up. Like, you think of so many things. You put in your notes. You have like the whole script in your head, and then freaking Bobby Green just catches him. Like, that's the sport. Bobby Green catches him. Like, nobody is invincible. I say that time and time again. Like, you can't go into any fight and be like, oh, Grant Dawson's 20-1 and he's never been finished, which isn't true. He has been knocked out before, and he has been dropped before. So maybe a little bit of hindsight there. Maybe Green by knockout was always the play, but still, like, you build up this narrative in your head and it just goes completely 180 on you, and it's fucking nuts. Yeah, I mean, parlays are brutal, man. Parlays are brutal. I've been trying to stick, dude, and this is ridiculous. I had the squarest freaking parlay of all time. I had Dober, Piper, Dawson. It came out to even money, and I was like, that. I know it's super square, and I know it probably is going to mess up somewhere, but like that has to hit. Threw a unit on it, um, and Dawson loses as probably the biggest favorite on the entire card. When he closed, it was like minus 500, dude. It was like minus 500. That's insane. So the rule of thumb is to always hedge out your bets. When you get into a parlay situation, 2 legs hit, 3 legs hit, and you're on that last one, got to hedge out. Luckily, I'd put money on Bobby Green earlier in the week, but like I said, I was just live betting like an idiot, and nothing that I put really hit because nobody in their right rational mind takes Bobby Green to win round 1 knockout. That's insane. But it's like, what do you do now? What do you do with Bobby Green? Like, this guy, 37 years old, like I said, narrative wise, you wanted Grant Dawson to win, and Bobby Green's 37. He just comes off 2 finishes over Tony Ferguson and Grant Dawson. Like, who's his next fight? Like, is it Paddy Pimblett? Is that the fight that you make? Do you do Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett? Paddy's already booked apparently with Tony Ferguson. So I don't know, man, because Bobby Green, he's a big draw. People love to see him fight. He's exciting. He's a great style. Like, he's someone, yeah, you could throw him in a main event on an Apex card, but he'll also be a perfect pay-per-view opener or a prelim headliner. Like, everybody loves Bobby Green. People will tune in to see that. See if you had gone all singles, then do a parlay, 10% of those singles, if anything. Yeah, that's the problem. But like, how are you going to go single on a minus 500 bet? Like that, that's it's insane. Like MMA is crazy because if you miss the train, your guy goes from minus 300 to minus 600 by the end of the week. So you have to be confident. You have to know that you're on the right side and get in a week or two early, which is near impossible to do. You gotta be betting 2-3 weeks out. Like lines drop earlier than you think. So it's pretty crazy. But I mean, overall, this was a pretty decent card. Like name value was actually solid. I mean, main event was fun. Joe Pyfer is like a massive hype train. Like his stock is going to go through the roof. Like him being on the co-main was awesome. Morano Buckley was an absolute banger. Like that is also a great fight to have on this card. Dobers is a massive name to have on there. Hernandez versus Aljo, that's a banger. Um, prelims was a little suspect, but like Kutela Belins was going to be a lot of fun. It was a decent card for an Apex event. It's free. It was a little early, 4 p.m., 7 p.m. main card. So like I don't really hate that too much. But overall, I thought it was actually a good night of fights. So I was happy with it betting wise. Like again, did I probably break even? Probably not. Because again, Murata completely screwed me. And I did have Dawson in a parlay. So I didn't hedge out enough with Bobby Green, nor did I play it the right way. Because yeah, just uh no, you can't do Green versus Drew because they already fought. They fought what, two or three fights ago for Green, and Dober knocked him out. Green was outworking him for the entire first round, probably 1.5 rounds, and then Dober landed the kill shot. So yeah, I mean, you could run it back just because it's like, is Dober going anywhere? Probably not. Is Green going anywhere? Probably not. So you could run it back, hypothetically speaking, but those two have already faced off. So I don't know. It's interesting to see what they'll do with the matchmaking because again, Drew Dober's the same case, man. Like he said it tonight. Like with that knockout win, he has the most knockouts in lightweight history, which is insane. I think he was tied with Poirier. Um, so it's always interesting. Jared Gordon then fight Patty. I mean, you got. I mean, you could run it back against Jared Gordon, but like, what does that really do for you? Jared Gordon wasn't a big draw. It looks like Bobby Green was most likely going to win that fight, but Bobby Green versus Patty would be super fun, assuming that Patty actually beats Tony, which should happen. But yeah, that's the thing. It's a filler fight. That's where both guys are at. Like Dober Green, I don't want to call it a filler fight because that's a little bit disrespectful, but it's a cheap way to throw them in a pay-per-view headliner against like some guy who's also just going to fight like an absolute psycho. And like like Terrence McKinney Dober, like that was such a fun fight to watch. Like Frivola Dober, that's a fun fight to watch. Like we need another guy. Fringe 15, like I don't know, man, because Dober's been around forever and he's also fought a ton of guys. So I'd be interested to see who they throw him into. And then on the flip side, like Bobby Green, and they got him in the post fight conference right now too, the interview. So Bobby Green's the man, dude. How can you hate Bobby Green? He really is the man. Everybody loves this dude. But the matchmaking is gonna be fun because even looking at like Buckley at 170, like he's got a resurgence, like he's got a big ceiling at 170, which I'm very excited to see. Where's that gonna go? Where's that going to go? Like, he's not ready maybe for the top 15. Like he's like right there, but I don't know how quickly they'll move him up, but he wants a main event. He ain't getting a main event. I'll tell you that, but he's close. If he gets another win, he's got to get a finish though. I want to see a flashy finish from Buckley, but main event's like 1 or 2 fights away. But Buckley has very good potential to have a very fun matchup in his next 2 or 3 fights. Pyfer, are they going to throw him to the wolves? I doubt it. Like Al Hassan, though, that was a tough fight, but who are they going to give Pyfer next? Like they're going to give him the slow climb like they do to Sean O'Malley, to Patty. Bo Nichols had a pretty easy run at it. Like Pyfer's probably going to do that for the next 2 fights or so. But yeah, Green, Dober, like Bill Algeo, dude, like he's catching some fire. Like it's a really good fun card to see who these winners are going to go up against next, because you got some good names on there. You got some good prospects, and you have some guys who are just riding winning streaks and freaking setting records, dude. Like Drew Dober's now setting records. Like, is this dude going to be a Hall of Famer at one point? And he's never gone past the 15th ranking in his division, but he's been around forever. He's an absolute legend. Everybody loves the dude, and he's got the most knockouts in lightweight history. Like, that's insane. Put him against like Jim Miller next fight or something. Like, I don't know. And then like, what do you do with Bobby Green? Because 155 is a killer's row. Like, what? Literally, what are you going to do with Bobby Green? Like, if you look at the top 15 right now, starting from 15, Diego Ferreira, like, they're not going to do that with Bobby Green. Matt Frivola, I think he just booked. Yeah, he's got a book to fight with Benoit Saint Denis, which is insane. Benoit Saint Denis is not ranked. Grant Dawson was 10. Does Bobby Green slip into 10? RDA is 11. Jalen Turner is 12. Like, Jalen Turner versus Drew Dober, maybe that's a fight. Renato Moicano, like that, he's a good name. So you could throw Moicano to Dober or Green, assuming they haven't fought before. I kind of forget. It's hard because a lot of these guys have been around forever. Moicano just kind of moved up to 155 recently, so I doubt they fought. So maybe Bobby Green versus Renato Moicano, like that's kind of a banger. But Moicano just called out Dan Hooker. Like, Dan Hooker's a good name you could throw in there. Dober versus Hooker. Has that happened before? I don't think that fight has happened. Looking at Dober's fight, like, never fought Dan Hooker. So, like, Dan Hooker, Renato Moicano, RDA, those are names. People who aren't going to hit the top 5. I mean, that's what you do with Bobby Green. That's what you do with Drew Dober. So, all right, guys, I just wanted to do a quick live. We're having fun out here. And my mind's blown. Bobby Green gets the job done, 33 seconds. I don't know how the fuck he pulled that off. Grant Dawson, you're a great fighter. You dropped the ball in this one, but I know you're going to be back. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Quick live here on a Saturday night, and we'll see you next time. Peace.